Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. We're going to talk about Index Card RPG, and we're going to talk about Marvel and DC. All right, let's get into it. All right, so thank you very much, everyone, who walked through the journey of Trouble in Paradise with me. That period is over, so we had a Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition campaign. It ran for 28 two-hour sessions. And it was an Omni DM game where we just passed control of the game from one dungeon master to another. It ended abruptly, right? Shocked everybody. It was a little upsetting, right? And there was a possibility where we might lose players for the Sunday game. Sunday game used to be 4 people. Now it's up to 6 people. And we did not lose a single player, right? And so, or dungeon master for that matter. And we have a new model, and the new model is, for this next month, I'm going to run Index Card RPG Marvel DC World, and I'll explain that a little more in a minute. And then one of the other dungeon masters for 1 month is going to run Runes and Runners, which is Realms of Terranoth and Eye of the Beanstalk. So it is Shadowrun run with the worlds and the systems of FFG and Genesis, right? So great options. We're going to get a break from Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, which is, it's exciting, and I'll explain that why, but I'm very excited that we're back on track. I'm also very excited that even with the tension in the room, we didn't lose a single player or a single dungeon master, so I'm excited about that. So here we go. All right. So let's talk about a break from Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, right? So I love Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition really needs to be run as your primary game. I'm a strong believer in that, right? Now, one, I have lots of time I can take away from, if my principle is you have to run Dungeons & Dragons at 51% of your sessions, I have 18 months banked where I can run non-Dungeons & Dragons stuff before I need to return to Dungeons & Dragons to remain true to my principles, right? Now, the reality is I highly doubt I'm going to go that long without either running or playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, because our new model is each dungeon master gets 2 hours of our 4-hour they get half of our 4-hour session on Sunday nights, and they run for 1 month, and they do not have to ask anybody what system they're running. They run whatever they like, right? And the idea is, hey, so what if there's a player who absolutely hates the game that got chosen by one of the game masters? Well, the answer back to them, which, it's not even a conversation, right, is, listen, you're going to sit here for 1 month. If you don't like this game, that's your cost to run whatever you want for 1 month, right? And right now, we've explained the model, everybody's cool, and, so it looks like we're heading, we're rolling forward, which is great. And so let's talk about getting a break from Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, right? So it is, it's alarming to me to be off of Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition when it's like half my life. It's a ridiculous amount of my life, so what's it going to be like being away? So here's the best way I understand it. So I am just incredibly blessed to, on December 21st, I'll be married for 30 years, okay? And me and my beautiful wife have 4 children, right? And one thing that's interesting is we're pretty well to do. I would say we're middle class, right? We're middle class, right? So we can get pretty much. We have 2 cars, a house, 4 kids. We literally have the American dream. And there's not a lot of stuff we can't get, but we can't buy items like new cars, and we can't really travel. Travel is very expensive. And we as a family, it's my greatest shame as a father that my kids have never ever been to Disneyland. My dad took me to Disneyland by the time I was like 6 yeyears old, right? And I remember it to this day, right? And I've never been able to take my kids to Disneyland because it's like, hey, do I want to go to Disneyland or do I want to buy a car? Like, it's literally like when you got 4 kids, that's what it is, right? So basically, what happens every now and then, I would say once a month, maybe once every 2 months, if it's, once a month to once every 2 months, depending on the season, right? My wife will pack up for 2 days, and she will go see her friend who lives in mid-state Pennsylvania. So this friend used to live 2 blocks away from us. Her husband hit real big in his line of work, just like knocked it out of the park, and became very rich, right? And so they moved to the middle of Pennsylvania, and they own a large, like a ranch. They essentially own a ranch, right? And so my wife will go and just stay 2 days with her friend, right? And this is really great, and I encourage this and like really support it 100%. And the reason why is my wife, so I kind of am the provision slot for our family, and she's in the nurturer slot, right? And so she takes care of everybody in the family, right? Myself, all the kids, she just works incredibly hard for our family, right? And because her work is the family, she really never gets a day off, right? So like, so she could be cooking a meal on Tuesday and cooking a meal on Saturday, and it's pretty crazy. So like, she works really hard. So I love this idea where she can go spend time with her friend, and all of the pressures are off, and we've established a situation where she can go whenever she wants. She used to say, hey, I want to go here. She'll just tell me, hey, I'm going to go see Sherry, at this ratio at this point, because I've told her, just go whenever you have free time. And then me and the kids catch as catch can, and my safety, my level of care for the kids is, are you on fire? Are you bleeding? No, we're good. Like, so everybody gets through, but like, she comes home and it looks like Home Alone, right? It's like, but it's really good, and and I think it's great because she gets a break where she has zero responsibilities to the family, which just doesn't happen at any other day in her life, right? And at the same time, we see so clearly everything she does and how hard she works for the family, and our love for her grows, right? And so, and I think it's really good for the kids to see it, because like they're like, what? Because they'll be like, I'm looking for this shirt that matches this shirt, and I'll be like, wear the non-matching shirt. And they're like, oh, yes. It's like, this is pretty brutal, but this is like, I'm seeing my break from Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition as really wonderfully relaxing, and like, it's just like there was never any tension with Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. There was tension at the table because I'm an intense, adamant person, and and I rubbed some of my players the wrong way, which is like half my life. I'm just an intense, adamant person, right? And so, and I would think that would estrange me from most people, but that's just not the reality. I have a lot of friends. It shocks me. I have no idea how a person as intense and adamant as me, with opinions on literally everything under the sun, has as many friends as he does. I don't think it's me. I think, God blesses me, and that's the reality of it. So I just wanted to let you know, so I have this break from Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition coming up. It's going to be 1 month, and then one of the other Dungeon Masters, so I won't be running in the second month because I'm running in the first month, but one of the other Dungeon Masters may run 5th edition, and then as soon as we're on to the third month, I'll have the option to run 5th edition then, if I haven't seen 5th edition in that long, or if I want to, right? So it's really nice, and so one thing I want to encourage you is, if you do run, if you follow my principle and you make Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition the primary game in your life because you want it to outpace every other tabletop role-playing game in the world, and raise the entire hobby because it's the Titan that lifts all others, like I do, then I would encourage you to consider taking a break, especially if you have months or even years logged, right? Go run another game. Dungeons & Dragons should be your primary game. It should never be your only game. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.